Hi Facebook, Dave Thompson here, and I'm down at Clark's Beach in Byron Bay. Just been for a surf. In fact, I've still got my wetsuit on. Happy winter solstice or summer solstice to you, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, I was just coming out of the surf and I had this thought that I wanted to share with you about book process, so book writing process. There's a few people jumping on now. Hey, say hey if you are there. Give us some winter or summer love wherever you are. So yeah, this time of year in Australia in winter, often people are going inward and starting to think about their process. And what I want to share with you is the difference between, oh yeah, there we go, getting some love. Thank you guys. I wanted to share with you the difference between book writing and authoring a book, okay? Because there's an important difference, and it's the difference of how a book comes to be. Okay, so as with everything, there's a million ways that you can skin a cat. There's a million ways that you can write a book. And I just wanted to explain to you and share a couple of the different options. So I'll start by telling a story. When I first wrote my first book, Living Outrageously, Your Hero's Journey, in early January 2014, and hey guys, just jumping on, Stephen, Colleen, I was like, right, I'm going to write this book. And I didn't know how to do it, okay? And I think that's similar to a lot of people that I speak to for the first time. They're just not sure how to go about it. And so I started looking around. I'm like, all right, well, how are other people doing it? Let's model success, as the common coaching phrase goes. And so I found this model where it was like, okay, you can speak your book. Now, so I pulled out my dictaphone and I started speaking my book. And, hey, Dane Thomas. And it was really difficult, right? So I spoke out about 15,000 words in a day or something like that. But when I got the transcript of it, it was a hodgepodge. It was very difficult to put together. And what I realized is that, like, oh shit, this is going to take me forever to put together and to edit on the back end. Far too slow for me. So I kind of scrapped that idea and I was like, right, I'm going to write it. And what I actually did, and this is kind of the origin story for the Book Writers Retreat. What I actually did is I took a notepad and I went, I was in Melbourne at the time, and I went to the St Kilda Botanic Gardens with my notepad, and I would just write in nature, much like the nature here. And I would write and I would write and I would write, and then at the end of the day I would come home. And within the space of 4 days, my book was complete because I'd written it. Okay, and it was pretty on point when I'd written it. Now, obviously, that's what works for me, so that's what I teach. That's why we do the book writers the way we do it. There are some other ways to do it, and I just want to give you kind of my insight on them, so that you kind of know the field, because I know publishing is a bit of a weird industry, and it's a bit difficult to kind of understand the different ways. So, yeah, you can do audio, but I'm not a fan. It didn't work for me. It took way too much prep at the start. It took way too much editing on the back end. And it was just a bit of a mess for me. So oh, hi, Mum. My mum's jumped on. Hi. So I was like, no, audio is not for me. And then as I got into the journey a bit more, I realized there's also this thing called ghostwriting, where someone else writes your book for you. And when I heard that one, I was like, oh, I like that one even less. And not to say that these things don't work for other people. Recording your book via audio, getting a ghostwriter to do it, if that happens to be your jam, go and do it. But it just wasn't for me. And the reason ghostwriting wasn't for me is because I believe in this kind of coaching expert industry, alignment of the voice, of the brand, of the message, I believe that is so important. Yeah, people can smell a facade a mile away. Their bullshit radars are just off the chart. Yeah. Hey Charlene, how you doing? Hope you're well. People can tell if you didn't do it, right? And if you're in that game where you're the coach, you're the expert, you're the personal brand, and you're looking to stand out from the crowd, then if you put something into a book and people read it and they're like, that ain't that person. There's something a bit off about that, and just for me, there's not enough integrity in it, and not enough purity in the message. Like, I think these days people want to hear from real people. They were, people like Tony Robbins and the greats of the industry, they're almost untouchable and unreachable. But if you've got a community of a few hundred or a few thousand, you can be a leader for that community. Hey, Emmy. So that's why I'm a big fan of book writing. One, because it's a shorter lead-in time, and shorter prep time, and short editing time, and also there's alignment and authenticity in what you're saying. And I really believe, I'll give you this other piece just before we round out and I get out of my wetsuit, because it's it's getting a little chilly here. Authenticity is a competitive advantage in this game. The more real you can be with people, the more legit, the more like heart-to-heart connection that you can get with people. I think that's a competitive advantage. That's a winning card. That's like the Joker that you can play when other people are, playing other cards or whatever. So I hope that has served you. At the Book Writers. Charlene, do I recommend a course to learn to write a book? Yes, I have written a book on this subject, Charlene. It's called Inspirational Book Writing. It's available on Amazon. It's about $1 in ebook. If you want to write your book, I would suggest grab that. Okay, if you want to audio it or ghostwrite it, go somewhere else. That's not really us. We don't really do that. We don't do that at all. But if you want to write your book, and I think that applies really to creatives, people that have a big message, something that they're passionate about, that they want to share in their own unique voice, definitely I would check that out. I'll link it below. So guys, I hope that has helped you. I hope that has helped you to get a bit of a scope of the scene, of the different ways that you can do things. And yeah, by all means, like if those other ways work for you, go for it. It just didn't work for me, so that's why we do book writing. All right, everyone, I am getting out of this wetsuit right now, so peace out, take care, winter solstice right on, and I'll see you on the other side.